His name isn't real, but his situation is. Kazuyuki Tachiki is 51 years old. He was born and raised in Higashi Osaka, hired straight out of college by an auto parts maker. He worked there for 20 years. Then he was laid off. Bitter and defeated, he withdrew from the world and moved back in with his parents. They supported him for years. His father passed away first in 2017. Then his mother died a few years later. His brother told him to sell the house and apply for welfare, but Tachiki couldn't do it. "If I lose the house, where will I live?" he says. "It meant so much to my parents, I can't sell it just for my own convenience." Tachiki is what the Japanese call a hikikomori, a shut-in, and he's far from alone. But here's what's changed. They're not young anymore. This week on Japan Today Spotlight, Japan's hikikomori are getting older and the clock is running out. Who are these people and how did they end up this way? Japan Today reports there are an estimated 1.46 million people living as hikikomori across Japan. That's roughly the population of San Diego, except they almost never leave their rooms. The word hikikomori was coined in the late 1990s by a psychiatrist, Tamaki Saito. It translates roughly as pulling inward. The government defines it as withdrawing from society for 6 months or more. Some have shut themselves away for decades. The image most people have is of some teenage boy glued to a screen. That picture is outdated. Most of today's hikikomori come from what's known as the employment ice age generation, graduates who entered the job market after Japan's economic bubble collapsed in the early 1990s. The jobs weren't there. The lifetime employment model that their parents had counted on was falling apart. Many drifted from part-time job to part-time job, never finding stable work, never marrying, and never building an independent life. Eventually, a lot of them went home and stayed. They remain in their rooms, playing online games, watching TV. In extreme cases, parents have left meals outside the bedroom door because they won't open it. The pandemic made things worse, deepening their isolation right at the moment when the rest of society was retreating indoors. Now, there are two other factors that keep people from getting help. In Japan, seeking therapy still carries a stigma. And Japanese parents are far more willing than parents in many other countries to go on supporting an adult child indefinitely, even when it's hurting them both. That cultural safety net is also, for many families, a trap. So how bad has this gotten? A survey conducted last year by KHJ, the National Federation of Hikikomori Family Associations, paints a troubling picture. The average age of a hikikomori is now 36.9 years. When KHJ first started tracking in 2014, it was 33.1. That's nearly 4 years older in just over a decade. More than 43% are now over 40, nearly 13% are in their 50s or older, and the people caring for them are aging too. The average age of that family caregiver is now 66.3. This is what's known as the 80-50 problem. Parents in their 80s supporting children in their 50s. But the KHJ survey found something even more striking. There are now cases of hikikomori in their 60s being supported by parents in their 90s. The 80-50 problem is becoming a 90-60 problem. When those parents pass away or need care themselves, the safety net disappears overnight. Kazuyuki Tachiki's story doesn't end with his mother's death. It's where the real crisis begins. With his mother gone, his brother's advice was practical. Sell the house, apply for welfare. But to qualify for welfare in Japan, you can't own property. Tachiki knows the logic. He just can't act on it. I can't sell it just for my own convenience. I know I should take myself in hand, he says, but he can't sell the house, he says, because it meant too much to his parents. As parents die or enter nursing homes across Japan, hikikomori are being left behind, isolated, unprepared, and in many cases, invisible to the social support system. For years, the government's answer to hikikomori was simple: get them back into employment. It wasn't working. In 2015, the health ministry opened 75 consultation centers nationwide. Very few hikikomori showed up. You can't send a job listing to someone who won't open the bedroom door. And psychiatrists warn that forcing socially withdrawn people into employment can cause trauma and make things worse. But there are signs that the government is finally shifting its approach. It's now working with tech firms and nonprofits to develop new support programs, including online counseling and VR-based tools that let users practice social interactions in a low-stress environment. Also in January, the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare released a new guideline, the Hikikomori Support Handbook, a compass for supporting hikikomori. The message is a significant change in tone. Employment and social participation, it says, are merely a means to an end. The real goal is autonomy, allowing hikikomori to decide for themselves how they want to live. It's an acknowledgement of something that support groups have been saying for years. Forcing people toward a fixed idea of recovery doesn't work. Dialogue does. Whether the guidelines translate into real change on the ground remains to be seen. Some families, desperate for a solution, have turned to operators known as hikidashiya, literally, one who pulls someone out. These are businesses that remove shut-ins from their homes, sometimes by force at the request of parents who've run out of options. They claim to run rehabilitation centers. They charge exorbitant fees, and they've faced repeated legal challenges. In January this year, 7 men from the Kanto region won a class action lawsuit after being forcibly removed from their homes and confined in a facility in Kanagawa Prefecture by a firm claiming to support the independence of social recluses. It's a dark side of this issue that has received far too little attention. So what can families actually do while there's still time? Support organizations across Japan are now holding workshops to help hikikomori and their parents create a long-term financial plan, teaching shut-ins how to manage living expenses after their parents are gone. Yurie Taguchi knows this territory personally. She's 76 and the director of a Saitama-based NPO that works with hikikomori families. Her second son is a hikikomori. Taguchi says that drawing up a plan for the period after her own death actually eased her anxiety. Once you have a financial plan in place, she says, parents can interact with their children more calmly. Financial planner Masako Hatanaka has spent years guiding these families through the numbers step by step. She starts by having them list everything: savings, real estate, outstanding loans, to work out what can realistically be left behind. Her message to parents is direct. Many parents avoid facing reality, she says, but it's crucial to prepare for this while they are still healthy. It's practical advice, but there's something quietly devastating about it too. These are parents making financial arrangements for children who may never be able to care for themselves. In April this year, a new quarterly magazine called Ship was launched in Japan. The name is an acronym: Social, Human Rights, Inclusive, Peer. SHIP publishes personal stories from individuals and their families alongside interviews with experts. It explores the pressures that push people toward withdrawal, prejudice, lack of understanding, peer pressure. One member of the publishing team is Rika Ueda, 53. She knows the experience firsthand. Ueda is part of the employment ice age generation, graduates who couldn't find stable work after the bubble economy collapsed in the 1990s. For women, it was even harder. Discrimination was rampant. Overwork, harassment, part-time contracts cut without any warning. After graduating from college, Ueda changed jobs 24 times. Each time, she felt unable to move forward. She felt like, in her words, a nobody in this society. Her mother blamed herself for not being able to put her daughter on the right track, and both of them shut off from the outside world. At a family gathering in Tokyo, a man who is also a hikikomori spoke openly about feeling that society had become his enemy. I wasn't the only one, Ueda thought. That understanding, she says, gave her a feeling of redemption. Ueda puts it simply: I want to make it possible for everyone to feel that it is okay to value their own voice and not have their voices be silenced. It's easy to look at the scale of this problem and feel overwhelmed, but there are success stories. The care manager at the Fujisato Social Welfare Council in the town of Fujisato, Akita Prefecture. She first became aware of the town's hikikomori problem in 2010, not through government data, but through the people she was already visiting. Elderly residents needing assistance would mention, almost in passing, that they had a grown child hidden away in the bedroom. What she found surprised even her. In a town of just a few thousand people, there were 113 hikikomori. She decided to go and introduce herself to every family. Not all of them were glad to see her. Some turned her away, others agreed to participate in volunteer activities, but then never showed up. What she learned changed her approach. These weren't people who wanted recreation or socializing. They wanted something much more specific. What these people wanted was work, she says. In Japan, exploitative employers are known as black kigyo, black companies. Unable to find regular work in the post-bubble hiring freeze, they were vulnerable as part-time workers to being exploited by black companies. Their escape from such workplaces led them back to their bedrooms. She found them work within the council itself, receiving visitors, serving in the coffee shop as a stepping stone back toward the world. From there, she encouraged them to qualify as caregivers. Of Fujisato's 113 hikikomori in 2010, fewer than 10 remain today. Japan has spent decades treating hikikomori as a problem to be fixed, pushed them back into the workforce, pulled out of their bedrooms, forced towards someone else's idea of a normal life. What the latest research, the new government guidelines, and the people doing the real work on the ground all suggest is that that approach has failed. What works is slower, it's harder, and less measurable. It's a care manager in Akita who's knocking on people's doors. It's a financial planner in Saitama helping a mother prepare for her own death. It's a magazine run by people who've been there, telling the people still inside that they're not alone. Japan's hikikomori are getting older. The parents who've carried them are getting older too. But if Fujisato's 113 hikikomori have become less than 10, one community at a time, one door at a time, then the problem, as vast as it is, isn't beyond reach. It just requires a different kind of knock. From the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See you next time.